This is an audio experience with Maximizing Moments with Milton.
International speaker, author, trainer, and coach, podcast host, and social media inspirator. I want to say thank you so much for joining today, and now let the training begin. Welcome, Maximizers. This is Milton Herring at miltonherring.com, and you've joined me on this 2-on-1 episode with my good friend Terilee Harrison. Would you say hello, Terilee?
Oh, hello, Milton. Great to be here.
I am so excited to have you here with me today because there's a lot we're going to be unpacking as far as how to be a great person and to maximize any given moment in your life towards success. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about Terilee and her background. She is a virtual and face-to-face business networking expert and trainer, entrepreneur, international speaker, and author. She is passionate about bringing together business professionals and teaching them how to build their network so they can make a greater impact in the world. She resides in Singapore and enjoys traveling throughout Southeast Asia and beyond, serving others. And I want to say thank you for joining me today. That's a great bio, and I know there's so much that's packed into that brief statement, but I want you to catch us up, give us some context on how you got to this point in your life today.
I hope that I don't take any of my content from the future questions, but it's been very interesting in my life, Milton. I am an American and lived in the U.S. up until 2.5 years ago, and was happily going along my own business. But my husband is a minister, and every once in a while you get called to different places, right? So in my life, I've started over many times, and maybe you have too, and people that listen will get that whole idea of starting over. But it was 2.5 years ago that we had the opportunity to come to Singapore for his work, and the move for me has been amazing because I was very heavily networked in the greater Los Angeles area, and I would have been totally happy just with my face-to-face contacts. There's so many people in Los Angeles, right? But this move has brought me to a point where I'm networking virtually, and it was until I was removed from my network physically, right, and moving halfway around the world, that I started looking at the opportunities to network globally with people, and I'm grateful now. That was one of my maximizing moments. I sure hope I have something left if we ask that question.
I'm sure you will.
Right? But the opportunity, the opportunity to follow what was happening. I mean, it was just, it's amazing. It's amazing how maximizing moments appear in our life, and what do we do with them? So I'm so excited about this topic with you.
Awesome. I appreciate you talking about that, and having a marriage. And I'm going to jump because you're talking about your husband being a minister, and obviously you're submitting to his mission and his cause, and you're supporting him in that, and you're still finding your own passion and purpose as well in the midst of all that, which is amazing. And I think me being married going on 20 years, and I'm proud of that in its own right. And my parents been married 45 plus years, and
That's awesome.
and having a marriage where it's not going to be always easy. I've had those conversations, and it's not going to get too much off topic, but talking about relationships and maximizers, you hear me talking about relationships a lot. You hear me talking about marriage a lot. But in your own perspective, Terilee, looking at what you and your husband are doing in Singapore, was that an easy transition to accept that calling that he has in his own life, or did you have to kind of go through your own journey yourself?
I had to go through my own journey, but this is a lesson for couples. Do you know what he allowed me to do when they talked to him about coming to work here? He said, I need to bring my wife. And he gave me, I know you're not going to believe this, he gave me full veto power. So we came to Singapore to visit, to see the country, to see the work, to meet the people, to experience it. And he gave me, if I said no, I couldn't do it, he would have been fine with that. And we'll talk more about that a little bit.
Okay. So I'm jumping the gun.
But what a gift he gave me, and what a gift when we have maximizing moments in our relationships, because it's not all just somebody's job, right? But the gift of saying, you know what, maybe it's not full veto power, but it's really important to me what you think. It's really important to me what you think, and your opinion matters, and the whole thing. Oh, it's not happy wife, happy life. I recently saw it's happy spouse, happy house.
Yes, love that.
And it's true, and it's true. Yes. How can we employ our family, our partner, in these maximizing moments? Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. The gift he gave me in that.
And I think one of the things that really sticks out in that statement you just said about your husband giving you veto power, it reminds me, and to maximize, I read the good book, the Bible, and Jesus talks about how man is supposed to love his wife, and what Jesus talks about himself giving himself up for the church, and the whole picture of that means, and giving himself up and loving her. That's the same thing that I did with my wife, and I see that your husband patterns the same philosophy and spiritual guidance, and that's cool to hear, that we are able to, as husbands, that it's not all about you making decisions and being the head of the household, but it's about you bringing your helpmate along with you, and no better way to help your helpmate than to paint the picture and allow her to have a say in these big decisions in our lives. And so
Yes.
and I think
Yes.
that's very key and important in maximizing a relationship. So thanks for sharing that. And I know you might share more later. That's totally fine with that. And we'll probably get into networking too, since you talk.
Uh-huh.
That's the big thing you started off with, is about the virtual networking and the networks that you had in Southern California, in the greater Los Angeles area. What did you find in your time in Los Angeles as you were living? What were some of the benefits from having a quality network for you?
Oh my gosh, I was just talking to someone about this yesterday. Do you know, Milton, our relationships are so key. The things that we learn from people, the ability to have a relationship, and sometimes you're able to collaborate in ways that you would never expect, and possibly even like offer services. It's not about all about trading services. We can totally do business with people, but sometimes we can get help beyond what we ever imagined from an expert, just because of our relationships. And I can't say highly enough, whether you're in business or in life, our relationships with people are everything. It even goes down to the little things, like my son one day, I didn't get his tanning lotion on him correctly, and like the tops of his shoulders, right? The tops of his shoulders were totally burnt, and because I had the relationship with the Mary Kay person, I texted her. We were on our way home that night. She already had they have an awesome after sun lotion thing that takes away the burn. It
Mm,
was out. It was out on her porch in the basket for me to pick home from where I was. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the it's
yeah.
the big things and the little things, and it's everything. Our networks are everything.
They are everything. That is wonderful, and it's also calming to hear that even in networking, and I can hear the authenticity in your voice, Terry Lee, that you're not going into a relationship always looking at that person as a product,
No.
or number, but you're going to that relationship wondering how I can help you, how I can serve you. And I think
Yeah.
one thing Maximize you can do is really be authentic when it comes to relationships. Yes, networking is not a corny thing where you're standing in line handing out a business card to everybody that walks by. But if a business card is needed, great. Or if a contact is needed, great. But always find yourself in the moment of networking. You can network with the Starbucks gal across the counter, the barista. There's so many ways you can network and find yourself adding value, and also getting some value added to yourself, which I think is totally, totally important, in finding yourself in a level of success that you want to be in. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I know we're getting into some of the virtual stuff, what you're doing in Singapore. But tell me, you weren't born from Los Angeles, right? You're from
Mm-mm.
the Midwest, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what took you out there to LA?
Mm. Well, it was a maximizing moment, may I?
Oh,
It was,
nice.
it was a maximizing moment, and honestly, it wasn't one of the best choices I made in my life. Right? Sometimes I
Mm,
think we're given opportunities to make a choice, and I actually went out there for love, and
oh,
and it didn't work out. But it took me on a path, a very different path. Right? Life in the Midwest versus life out on the West Coast they're two different things,
yes,
and
ma'am.
I'm pretty sure if I was still in the Midwest, and there was nothing wrong with it, okay, but I would be working for the same company, living in the same house, doing the same things, and my life has taken a very different turn. And yeah, it was a maximizing moment that, while I was glad I had it out that way, sometimes our circumstances aren't so swift, and sometimes we don't always make the right choice, Milton.
Okay. I got my hand raised. I know about not making right
Ah,
choices. So
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
there's so many,
Woo.
uh, non-quality choices that I've made in my own life, and I understand that. But you know what? I believe that everything works together for the good, for those that have been called, and I appreciate you sharing that because obviously something has worked for your good, despite the
Yes.
choices that have happened, and you've always taken that moment and maximized it yourself. And so I want to thank you for sharing that. And I didn't get how long you've been married to your husband?
So I've been married to my awesome husband now. We will be celebrating our 17th anniversary in a
Sweet.
week. In a week.
Sweet. Awesome. 1 week, huh? Nice.
Yeah.
And I would say
Yeah.
once you guys go to Singapore, but you're already there. So it's
Oh, yes. I'm thinking about taking him to Malaysia or Indonesia. Doesn't that sound exciting? But it's just like
wow.
a car ride over a bridge or a short ferry ride. But it sounds very exotic, doesn't
Not
it?
fair. Not fair at all.
I know.
What
I
is
know.
the
Please come over. Please come over. I'd love to have you all as my guests, all of you.
awesome. Awesome. And what type of weather we're looking at right now? It's getting colder here in the US,
Oh,
but
I know. I don't want to. Okay, we're 1 degree from the equator.
okay.
Okay, so it's always hot and humid. This is more of the rainy season. We get beautiful thunderstorms. But coming from the Southern California, where it's always a drought, we love the rain.
Mhm.
But the only thing is like Milton, if I can just be honest, I miss like the fall desperately,
Oh.
and you're always going to see me like if we're doing video calls, I tend to always be like in a tank top because it's hot here. So um, so I do miss that desperately. There's nothing like ladies. There's nothing like being able to put on a cute Milton. You're gonna hate me. A
No,
cute
I'm
jacket
married.
and some boots, and a scarf. There's nothing like it,
Yep.
and I just can't do that here. I would die. I would die outside. Hmm.
Warming up with a cup of hot cocoa or coffee or whatever you got, and yeah, snuggle by the fireplace, which I
Yeah,
wish.
can't do that. Can't do that.
Oh man, yeah, I know. Being lived in Southern California, I get used to the four seasons now being in Utah, so I do appreciate
Yeah.
them, and I don't complain at all. Whether it's 3 feet of snow or if it's 100 degrees, it's gonna change at some point. Seasons will change, and so I am grateful. But I'm glad you're.
Except here. Except
Yeah,
here they don't.
you got rainy season and not rainy season. That's pretty much what
Yep,
we
and
got.
hot and hotter.
Hot
Hot
and
and
hotter.
hotter.
Oh man, what I know you're doing great things there, but I want to talk more, and I know you're going to share more about some of the virtual and face-to-face business networking stuff that you're doing, and love to dive in more about you being an author as you bring that up. But what are you ready to jump into some of those maximizing moments questions?
Oh, yes, of course. I'm very excited.
I figured you would be. So I don't want to keep the audience waiting because I know that you've got some great stuff planned. And before we jump into that, real quick, Maximizers, you know that you can sign up. Please, please, if you haven't signed up for my weekly newsletter digest, please do that. Go to miltonaring.com and sign up for the weekly Maximizing Moment Digest. We'll get to your inbox every Monday. Just thoughts about life, thoughts about success, and to help you maximize any given moment of your life towards success. So thank you for letting me do that, Terry Lee. And without further ado, let's jump into our first question for Maximizers today. Give me your
Okay.
favorite quote and explain why and how it helps you.
You're gonna laugh, but I guess you can tell I like to have fun. So
I
this
do.
is an unknown quote, and it is, "Whatever you do today, do it with the confidence of a 4-year-old in a Batman t-shirt."
Love that.
Okay. Why does it help me? There's nothing like a little a child, right? They don't have the fears we have. They have the creativity that sometimes we let go. They just and you can just can't you picture, and maybe you were a little boy in a Batman t-shirt, and that feeling, and my gosh, if that's how we could operate all the time, life would be just so fantastic, so fantastic. So it's
Wow.
a simple, fun quote, but very powerful.
Wow, I'm just imagining kind of a little kid with like candy all around his mouth, and he's just running around, and he's got cowboy boots on, and one pants leg out, one pants like tucked in, and just not really caring about anything. And I think having that awesome feeling of not having a care in the world what other people may think about you, or
Mm,
may say about you, is probably one of the
mm,
most freeing things as an adult that you can
mm.
experience in your lifetime. And so I appreciate you sharing that confidence of it. Love that. That is fun. I'm going to recall that one again. So thank you for sharing that. My second question for you, Terry Lee, is this: give me a moment where, when looking back, you let slip away and it impacted your life at some level.
Mm. Okay, so I kind of alluded to it, so let's see what I can come up with on top of this. But for me, it was that choice. I was 24 years old, and I had a choice to make a good decision and play it safe and stay in the Midwest and stay in my life, or do some type of crazy decision and leave my entire life behind and run off to California, right?
Hmm.
And I have to say, sometimes, and maybe some of you have faced this, maybe Milton has too, just in the place I was. I've worked on myself a lot in the last few years, but in my life, Milton, I've spent so much of my time not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough, not feeling confident enough. It's no wonder I picked that quote. But just I didn't have, in some ways, the guts to stand by some of the decisions that I'd made, and so I ran away. I literally ran away, and now it has worked out in the end. But even to the point of I knew what God wanted me to do, and I think God probably really wanted me to stay in the Midwest, and I didn't. I said I'm going to do it my way, and so I really don't recommend you say that to God. Really, it provides a lot of unrest, and it takes away a lot of the peace in your life until you get back on track with Him. But that was definitely one of those moments for me. And but like I said, I do realize that if I would have stayed, in a lot of ways, I'd be living the same. Nothing would have changed. Nothing would have changed. And my life now, everything has changed. So we can't go back and change things. It's our journey. I can't change any of that. And in some ways, I'm glad I've gone off and experienced a different life. But I certainly got there the hard way, Milton.
Wow.
Anybody?
Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. And I asked that question because it really, there's a lot of things in our life that we do kind of let slip away. I wish that I would have done something differently in that moment.
Yep. Yep.
But at the same time, when you talk about maximizing those moments, it's not necessarily. Hopefully, you're alert and what we call woke in that point of time in life, and that you can make the best
Yes.
decision possible. But if you don't, it's not the end of the world. It's part of your experience. It's part of your history. It's part of who you are,
Correct.
and you can still
Correct.
use that for a positive momentum going forward. And so,
Yes.
I appreciate you sharing that about yourself. Awesome. So let's look at the third question. Is here: have you ever had a time where you knew there was more for you to do in life or accomplish, but were in a position or a job or career that didn't quite line up with that? How did you maximize that moment?
One of my most maximizing moments comes back to, I told you we were going to talk about this again, the whole opportunity to move to Singapore. Okay.
Hmm.
I'll never forget when my husband's Terry also. I don't know if you probably didn't know that. So
Yeah, I did see
Terry,
that, Terry.
yeah, Terry had come to Singapore to teach for 2 weeks, and that was all it was ever going to be, right? He was just coming, and frankly, I had no idea where Singapore was. I had no idea where I was
Mm.
sending him, and if I would have even looked on Google, I would have been with him. It's awesome, right? I don't even know what I was thinking. I just sent him and never looked. And so when he called and said, "Hey, they want me to come teach here," I began looking around at our circumstance, and the thing is I really was loving my work. I was really loving my work, and sometimes we might not feel that we need change. We might not feel right. We might be happy where we are, and the beauty of just for the maximizing moment. When I came to Singapore, I began looking around. And the one thing that came to mind for me was, because you all know I had veto power, right? The one thing that came to mind for me was, do you remember Jonah? And God
Yes, yes.
told Jonah to go to Nineveh, and he didn't. And you know what? I know what happened to Jonah, and I could find, Milton, no compelling reason big enough to say, no, we can't go to Singapore. So in light of that decision, of I couldn't find the reason, the one thing that I did do, and for the maximizers, it doesn't mean necessarily that you have to fully give up something sometimes to make a change. I own that business still, and I still remotely run it from Singapore. Things have changed, but I get up every morning, and it's afternoon, your time the previous day, and I talk to those same people. Sometimes you can find a way to still have relationships, still stay involved in some of the things. I didn't have to fully give that up to move, but didn't know that until I started exploring it. So it's amazing what can happen when you will start to just put things out there and look at what your options are. Sometimes what we don't see as an option is an amazing option. So I'm very blessed that way. I'm very blessed. I didn't have to go in the belly of a whale. I still run my business, and yet I'm able to serve alongside my husband and enjoy living in Southeast Asia.
That is awesome. Enjoy this time. Enjoy this time, my friend. Good. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Next one is, do you have a story of a time that when Maximize the Moment was important or meaningful to you?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if you're ready for this one. I don't think you know this one. So it is now late 2019. In May of 2018, I hadn't been feeling good for several months, and I'm a tough chick, and so I was trying to avoid going to see a specialist, and I had all kinds of pain. I couldn't really eat without discomfort. I'd lost all kinds of weight, and at that time, they told me that I had a mass on my liver. They said that they really thought it was a cancer that was taking me out soon, and like they were ready to call hospice. They said it was inoperable, and there was nothing they could do. And so they started doing biopsies, okay? And so here we are. We're a year into being in Singapore. And by the way, the healthcare here is amazing. Our insurance here is amazing. We're very blessed. If I had to be sick, we're very blessed that I had to get sick here, right? And so, oh gosh, what a maximizing moment to think you're dying soon, because it was a great wake-up call for me. It was a beautiful wake-up call for me. There are so many little things, dumb things I was putting in front of God in my life. And you really, when you are told you are, that they really believe there's nothing they can do for you, you suddenly look at what is really important in life and what brings you joy in life, right? And how do I want to live my days? And so for me, obviously I'm talking to you today. So it turned out that it wasn't cancer. Awesome. It turned out God changed the story. I do have a chronic blood cancer, and I do take chemo pills and blood thinners every day. But you know what? That's nothing in comparison. And even that, I feel better every day. So I thank God for what he's brought me through regarding my health, and that I'm able to do the things that I do. I really don't try to dwell on that anymore. And if I need to take a nap in the afternoon, I don't beat myself up. I take my nap and I keep moving. But what a maximizing moment, as I knew I was going to survive, of how will I spend my days? What brings me joy? And like I started doing things like we had new opportunities for singing at church. And I wasn't an athlete as a little girl. I was a musician. I love to sing and I love music. And I started singing. And here I am, early 50s and like living out, like my little girl inside is so happy, and what brings you joy? I mean, I literally got to the point with my health that I removed everything from my calendar because I didn't know what my future held. Like, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And now my calendar is full again, right? But what the question is, Milton, what do I put in my calendar? What makes me happy? And even some work I was doing that I was just having difficulty sometimes getting through it. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not bringing me joy, and I'm not able to serve my clients in the highest manner. And so I chose to leave some of that work behind and to pursue what makes me happy and what is easy for me. We know the things in our business, in our work, that our profession that is easy for us and doesn't deplete us from our energy, that leaves us energized and excited. Those are the things that those were some maximizing moments for me. Moments in choosing in my relationships with my family. right? When you think your life is cutting short, it's like, what is really important here? And so I am so grateful really for that time, for that moment, to be able to make some maximizing decisions in my life. I am, okay. I am vain enough that I did tell my doctor, I told my husband, I go, the day I stop caring about what I look like is the day that y'all will know I'm really sick, right? And so there was a time last year I was grateful. My birthday's coming up soon, and I was grateful last year to turn 52. Like, so grateful. Like, thank God for the opportunity to turn 52. And I've progressed enough in my health now to be like, the other day I was sitting on the couch and I was like to my husband, I go, am I going to be 54? And I was like dying about getting old. And I thought, like in a bad way. And I thought, oh, how have you changed? Like, getting old is a gift. Getting older is a gift. What a gift it is. And we should all remember. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I just feel the joy coming off of your lips. Thank you, Terilee. That is amazing because life is so short.
It is.
My family and I lost my mother-in-law. I don't call her mother-in-law, but she's my second mother. Lost her a month ago to cancer, and
I'm so sorry.
and it was a real. Yes, I have close ones that have passed away, but this one really hit me hard, and really analyzing the joy in my life and wanting others to experience that same joy as well. And so, thank you for being here today. And I'm grateful that I'm able to sit here and speak with you and interview you in this time in your life. And I want to thank you for sharing your story and being very transparent. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Oh wow, good one today so far, guys. How would you define a maximizing moment, Terilee?
I had never thought about that before because I haven't hung out with you yet, Milton. But this is what I said. Ready?
Yeah.
I think that a maximizing moment is an extraordinary gift when life circumstances offer you a choice to stay on your current path or take a new one.
That is wonderful. Nailed it. Nailed
Yeah, I
it.
never thought about it before. So I thank you for our conversation so that I can think about it.
Awesome. Will you repeat that for the audience one more time?
I sure will. A maximizing moment is an extraordinary gift when life circumstances offer you a choice to stay on your current path or take a new one.
That's it right there. I'm gonna have to tweet that one later. So thank you for that one. That's a good one.
You're welcome.
That is a
You're
good
welcome.
one. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna give you the floor right now, Terilee. So if you could share three actionable steps. Before that, I'll let you share a little bit more. But give me three actionable steps, and our maximizers love this when we talk about actionable steps to take for a person to maximize a defining moment in their life. What would you say those would be for you?
Number one for me is going to be to pray. I think that our faith, no matter what I believe most of us have a faith in something, and so whatever your strong faith is, I want to invite you to lean into that when it comes time to look at a maximizing moment and really seek out. I believe that in our soul, we know when something's right for us, and just to really lean into our faith and seek out, is this really what we feel we're called to do, right? Look at it just like from that standpoint of the whole Jonah thing, right? And I couldn't find a compelling reason in that moment to tell God no. I can't do this. And so lean into that. I think that that's so important. And then number two would be really look at, what do I gain by making this choice? What do I lose by making this choice? And just really, whether you put them down on paper, but just really look at all the options that are available to you, and really examine, can I really handle losing these things? Or do I have to lose these things? Maybe it's like, for me, being able to still retain ownership of my business and just, I run it in a different way. I'm not feet on the ground every day with these people. I mean, I would love to be having coffee with them and seeing them, but instead we're on screen, but being face to face with them, I get to go back 3 times a year and still see them, right? There are options available. Sometimes we just don't think there are. So what is the gain and the loss? And then here's the biggie, guys, and it's what do I have to do to grow into this new opportunity? If I take this new opportunity what do am I there? Am I ready? So I think I said for a lot of my life I didn't feel good enough. Am I good enough? I had a lot of fears when it came to moving to Singapore. If I did business here, will they accept a foreigner? Right? We are legal aliens. What I'm saying. So it's different over here. You're always the minority. You're always you're different. You're different everywhere you go. But I had a lot of fears, and it was like, can I step up and into this? And how about the idea of networking globally? It's one thing to network with people who are somewhat like you, who are from your geographic region, but these days I'm meeting people from different areas all the time. I'm connecting with some wonderful people in Europe. I'm connecting, of course, with people here in Southeast Asia. We're working with some people, across the U.S. I had never met before, and into Canada, looking to also make connections in Australia. And you don't know. Oh, how about Turkey? I'm meeting some wonderful professionals there as well. Being ready to step into that of, I can do this. I am good enough to do this. What is it that you have? What opportunities do you have? And being willing to do whatever work you need to do on yourself. I know that back when I was 24, given that decision to stay in the Midwest, or what choice I was going to make, I'm not that same person that made that choice that day. The question is, and not probably, Milton, I'm not the same person I'm going to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years,
Right.
15 years, right? And so it's a journey that we're on, and what is the next step that we're taking in our journey, and what do we have to do to grow into this new opportunity? Sometimes I think it's important to do it afraid. Just do it. Just do it. You will figure it out. I'm not going to say that adjustment to giving up my business and moving here, giving up the physical part of doing my business, moving to a different country, going through the illness. I'm not going to say that that's all been easy. And sometimes I haven't done things right. And there's been times when I would be depressed, right? But what can we do to pull ourselves up and out? This is not part of this. I feel the need to say it. So I believe in being as positive as possible and living in gratitude. And when I first was diagnosed at the time and went on like the chemo pills and the blood thinners for my condition, I joined a bunch of Facebook groups, Milton. And so I was connecting with people all around the world, and I didn't realize how it was nice to know I wasn't alone, but at the same time, I didn't realize how I'm feeding into every day. Everyone's dwelling on how bad they feel, right? And I'm like, so recently, within the last 6 weeks maybe, I deleted all those groups out of my phone. I thought, if I need them, I have a question for them, I know where to find these guys, right? But I'm like, I do not want to fill my mind all day with how bad everybody feels. I want to concentrate on how good I feel. Right. And that was a huge thing to delete that out. It's not that they were all so negative and whatever, but it's like, no, I want to be thinking about how fantastic I am, being grateful for how good I feel. And do I feel on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not sure I feel as well as I did in the past, but I certainly am feeling better than if I was concentrating on it. I'll tell you that. So maybe there's something that you all have on your phones that to really maximize your life that you might need to delete. Maybe it's just filling your mind with things that are dragging you down. And that's been a huge thing for me. So sorry, that was like a bonus number 4 off the wall comment, Milton, but I just felt like I needed to share it.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And those steps are so important. Pray and make a choice whether you're going to gain or lose, and then also to grow. What do I need? And I thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. This has been an impactful interview for myself, Terilee. So thank you for sharing. And I want to allow you to give. I know you've spoken, but to give the audience, if there's any other parting words or comments or instructions you want for them to have, you're more than welcome to share right now.
Well, I think what I would just like to say to the maximizers is how fortunate are you to have someone like Milton to be bringing you this message on a regular basis. I think it's a huge it's a huge concept of maximizing our life. Someone gave me a gift. It was their business card. They sell essential oils, and the name of the oil was Living in Your Excellence. And I was like, oh, I mean, isn't that all what we want? Isn't
Right.
that all what we want? And that we will have times that are when challenges face us, right? We might come to another maximizing moment. It's like, what? How am I going to handle this, right? But we want to just take our experiences, lean into our faith, take some of those steps. And really, truly, this is where also having the right family support and friends who you can lean into when you have choices to make. It's huge. It's huge. So I'm so grateful for you. You all have Milton, and that you're able to really examine this on a regular basis. And Milton, I'd love to become part of your community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Terilee. I'm blushing, so thank you so much. And Maximizers, I think she's telling the right thing. I'm just joking. So thank you. Thank you so much. And for anything that can happen, for our maximizing audience, I know that you're an author. Anything you want to promote, anywhere you want them to find you more of, networking virtually, in person, wherever. Where do you what do you want to share?
Well, I think if it's okay, may I offer them a gift if you have business owners who are interested in networking online? Would our maximizers, would that fall into their
Sure thing.
category
Sure
somewhat?
thing.
Okay, so if it's okay, I want to invite you to email me at Terilee, Terilee, at teamreferralnetwork.com. I would love to gift you my latest book. It's an ebook, and it's How to Make Online Networking Work for You. Online networking is something that's rather new for people, and I'm not sure we all know how to navigate it. We all kind of know how to go to a meeting and give our business cards and meet people and follow up, but online networking is a whole new beast. And so, if I can just impart some of that information, I would love to. For anyone that might be interested in visiting a virtual meeting of team where we is a referral networking meeting, but it's online from the comfort of your office, your home, or anywhere on the go that you have Wi-Fi. If you'd be interested in just popping in and meeting some professionals from around the nation and around the world, I'm also at Terilee at teamreferralnetwork.com. If you say invite me, I'd be happy to send you some links to some meetings. We would love to introduce you to some of our people and see if we can't help you grow your business. So that's how to connect with me, Milton, and I'd love to meet your maximizers.
Thank you so much. And what was that email one more time?
It's Terilee, Terilee, at team, TEAM, referral, REFERRAL, network.com.
Network.com. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Terilee. It's been great talking with you, and really, I've been impacted from this conversation, and Maximizers, I know that you have to as well. And would you do us a huge favor? Would you please reach out to Terilee? She's offering some great articles and books and ebooks and opportunities to promote not only yourself but also to help gain wisdom in your business for success. And as always, guys, you know what my hope and prayer is. It is always to help you maximize any given moment in your life towards success. Terilee, thank you so much for your time today. Blessings to you, and thank you for sharing your story. It's been very impactful. Thank you today.
Milton, thank you for having me as a guest. It's my pleasure and my honor. So, and best to your whole community.
Thank you. God bless you guys. Until then, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. If you've enjoyed this episode, thank you for sharing on your social media streams, giving me a like, comment, thumbs up, whatever you can do to help encourage myself and also help encourage someone else by passing this along. Milton Herring at miltonherring.com. Sign up for my latest Maximizers Digest by placing your email and name, and you will get that every week in your inbox. God bless you guys.